Hey there, Snap Flash fam. Former Botswana President Ian Khama is making headlines after being detained and deported from Angola. And he's not holding back. He's calling it a disgrace to Africa and a major setback for democracy. So, what exactly happened? Let's dive in. Khama traveled to Angola for a major democracy summit, but instead of discussions on governance, he and other ex-African leaders were detained for hours, their passports seized, and then deported. And guess what? Angola currently chairs the African Union.
Excellency, and now I have the honor to welcome His Excellency João Manuel Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola, the new chairperson of the African Union.
Was this an attack on free speech? Let's break it down. Before we continue, hit that like button and subscribe to Snap Flash for real-time updates on Africa's biggest stories. Let's go! Khama wasn't the only one caught up in this political storm. Other leaders detained and deported included former Lesotho Prime Minister Moeketsi Majoro, former Colombian President Andres Pastrana Arango, and Zanzibar's first Vice President Othman Sharif. Their crime? Attending the Platform for African Democrats Summit, a gathering aimed at strengthening democracy and accountability across the continent. But things took a dark turn when 12 delegates were immediately deported upon arrival, even those with valid visas. Khama and others were detained for 9 hours, unable to leave or communicate freely. Angolan officials falsely promised transport to the summit, only for those plans to mysteriously collapse. Khama didn't hold back, saying, "What happened in Angola is exactly what gives Africa a bad name."
We were kept there, it must have been, 9 hours? 9 hours, no food, no explanation. So I just felt that, I had always considered the government there, which I'd visited 3 times before. The last time President Lourenço had invited me to Angola to meet Masisi. He was the chairman of SADC, trying to bring about reconciliation between Na and Masisi. And now he's the president of the African Union and he detains me. So that contrast, chairman of SADC, he invites me, Angola, treated very well. This time, as president of the AU, I'm detained. But anyway, when we left the airport, there was quite a crowd of people there and media, because, like I said, this thing had been heard. The fact that other people were also deported, I just thought, well, that's another reason I'm not prepared to stay in that country longer than is necessary. And many Botswana who I was in communication with, don't continue to Benguela, because if this is how they treated you, they could continue. And I thought, the one thing I don't like being told by people, and I'm sure you don't like being told by anybody, if someone says to you, "I told you so." Where someone advises you not to do something and you go ahead and do it, and then something happens, I told you so. So there were so many people saying to me from home, "Just come back, forget the conference, there'll be other conferences, your safety is more important, just come home." So I left and I thought, no, well, at least there's a lot of, situation like that. There was one foreigner who was in our group who was going to attend the conference, It was his first time in Africa, his first time in Angola. And he said to me, when he told people he was coming, his friends, I'm going to attend a conference in Africa. I thought, "Oh, you sure you want to go to Africa?" I said, "Yeah, what's wrong? I mean, nothing will happen to me. Angola, it's our no problem." And he said to me, "After this experience, I will never ever come back to Angola again, because the way we've been treated, people have been treated, is unprecedented."
The PAD summit organizers fired back at Angola, calling this a deliberate attempt to silence voices calling for accountability. Ugandan delegates were denied visas for vague technical reasons. Leaders with diplomatic passports were still blocked from entry. Angola's AU leadership is now under scrutiny. How can a country that suppresses democracy lead the continent? African leaders should not be treated like criminals for wanting open discussions about democracy. If we cannot freely exchange ideas, how can our people trust us? Aside from the Angola controversy, Khama shut down rumors about rejoining the Botswana Democratic Party. No return while Masisi is in charge. Instead, he's focusing on his new leadership role as Kosigolo, a traditional chief position. Khama made it clear, that chapter is closed.
I have started my duties in Kosi, and as such, I'm no longer involved in politics. And I think that is understanding throughout this country that we are apolitical, really Kosi, when we are performing our functions and official duties as chiefs. But being a chief, I am a citizen, which means that I'm entitled to vote. And I can have an informal association or membership of a political party, provided that I do not display publicly my allegiance or association with a political party. But I can't come here and say to you now, I'm supporting this party or that party, or say to you, vote for this party or that party. I cannot wear party symbols in public, or anything related to a party. I don't want to say party colors, because that confuses people. Because I don't become also a red shirt. A red tie and handkerchief. And they were starting to say, hey, oh, you've gone back to BDP. And I said, it's a plain red tie. It's a plain, red handkerchief. And it doesn't mean, it's just coincidental. So whether I wear blue or yellow or green or red does not mean I am promoting a particular party or not, Botswana. I cannot attend party political meetings, like the Congress and the Council. I can attend a rally, but not speak at the rally or do anything to indicate and you want to vote and you're not sure which party to vote for. You can go to a rally and go and listen to what they are selling about themselves to help you decide who to vote for. But you should just be there quietly listening, but not participating in any way. So I just want to indicate to you, Hore, that is the position. So, I'm not going to do or say anything that contradicts what I've just told you. And normally I would not do this anyway. But there has been interest created, BDP, which has now generated a lot of questions. Some have come from the media, some have come from people generally. This and that. We heard this person say on a video, on the audio, they're coming to collect you. So I'm really here to address those utterances which have been stated publicly. I have a letter here, which I've never shown you before, I don't think. I've been looking for this thing and it's already somewhere. This letter was written to me by Masisi on the 13th of March 2020. Showing you this letter does not in any way associate me with the party. This is the letter for your information. And then the signature on the other side. Masisi. The heading of the letter is Confirmation of Termination of Membership of the Botswana Democratic Party yourself. So you'll recall, Hore, I left the BDP around May 2019, before the general elections of 2019. I was made the patron of the BPF. Ke be campaignela BPF ke na le batho ba tshwanang bo Ford le the late Rosaline, may her soul rest in peace. Limpopo, right up to 2019. So there was nobody who didn't know that I was no longer more BDP. My Sisi Abatanya ka March 2020, 5 months later, instances demonstrating resignation by conduct of the party. But the Weekend Post, he quoted the Weekend Post, he quoted Meri newspaper and the Echo newspaper, where they were referring to some of my comments about having left the BDP. So, like I said, about Tanya March, 5 months after elections, these actions serve to confirm you are no longer a loyal member of the BDP, despite our records showing that you have not formally resigned from the party. This communication serves to confirm to you that the Botswana Democratic Party no longer regards you as its member. That's what he said. Jano ha babangwe. Jano ba bua horenya. Rahomotsa. Or abuela mo BDP. They are contravening their leader, who said to me, I'm no longer a member of the BDP. They are defying their leader. So that's not my problem. That's their problem. They have to sort out how do they address this contradiction? Where the leader says you're not a member, bare nya rahumutsa, and bring him back. Have they consulted him? After he said, I'm no longer a member, did they consult him to say, Hore, arekaya rahumutsa, rabuela mo BDP? So that's the other thing. Secondly, I've said that I have not given thought about going back to BDP. I've not given it any thought because, Yaka, I said to you, I'm carrying out my chieftainship duties. But if I was to consider going back to BDP, I would never do it my Sisi Alete as the president of the party. I would not do it if there are any of those who were under my Sisi who were targeting me, if they were also in the Central Committee. That's just not, is something that would not happen. So that's a position I just want to say to you for now. ke go gore ba tlogela go bua ka nna a ba tlogela go campaigna ka nna ka rights gore ba na le dithopo. Would they have done this had they won the elections? Would they? They wouldn't have. So they are doing it now because they want to use me for their positions in the Central Committee. Those who you've been hearing publicly talking about me. So I just want to make it clear, Horenya, I have not entered into any discussions or negotiations. And I still remember the BDP constitution. Hore, if you have been expelled from the party, or if you resign, how about the Hobwela, go BDP, or Tonetso Hobwala, Okupa readmission to the Central Committee. And I've never done that, and I do not intend doing that. I didn't write to them resigning, and I'm not going to write to them asking to be readmitted either. So you can draw your own conclusions from that.
So don't expect any BDP reunions anytime soon. Now, PAD leaders are turning up the heat, demanding a public apology from Angolan President João Lourenço. But instead of silencing them, Angola's move backfired, strengthening their resolve to fight against authoritarian rule in Africa. PAD's statement was blunt: "This experience has only fueled our commitment to democracy. Those resisting change are an obstacle to Africa's future." So what happens now? Will Angola respond to growing international criticism? Will this incident push more African leaders to speak out? And what does this mean for Angola's position in the African Union? What do you think? Was Angola's move justified, or was this a full-blown suppression of democracy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, like, share and subscribe to Snapflash for more real, fast, and unfiltered news. Snapflash, bringing you the stories that matter as they happen. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay vocal, Africa. And don't forget, keep questioning and stay informed.